Well, more now on the royal family's show of unity overnight at Prince Philip's funeral. Many people had hoped that Princes William and Harry would be able to put their differences aside, but to see Harry, Kate and William smiling and walking together was perhaps more than anyone might have expected. A really touching moment.
Two brothers and Catherine walking up the hill.
Surely one image that would gladden the heart of the Queen on such a day.
Well, it is often said that funerals are moments of reconciliation, and that is a sight, let's be honest, that many people really wanted to see, not least those in the family themselves.
Sunrise Royal Editor Rob Jobson joins us again live from Windsor. Jobbo, good morning again to you. I just want to start by asking you about the service. I read somewhere that he said to the Dean of Windsor once that the best services were about 12 minutes long. I think the service went for a little bit longer than that, but it didn't feel like it dragged at any point.
Yeah, absolutely right, Martin. I think he wanted to make sure that it was a deeply religious service. There were no eulogies for members of the family. The only person that spoke about the Duke's personality was the Dean of Windsor, David Connor. But I think also you've got to bear in mind, very emotional for the Queen, extremely emotional for the Queen. I think that the Duke would have had that in mind in terms of how long that service went on to make sure that his wife wasn't put out.
Absolutely, yeah. The image of Her Majesty sitting alone will endure, Jobbo, for a long time. What about the Duke's hand in the service himself? If you could take us through some of the details that he was actually involved in, from obviously the Land Rover that carried the coffin, even down to some of the music.
Well, that touch, the Land Rover, is probably one of Prince Philip's last jokes, because he once was, when talking to the Queen, said, "Watch, how do you want the funeral?" He said, "Well, just throw me in the back of a Land Rover," which of course it wasn't just like that. It was a specially designed Land Rover with Jaguar Land Rover. He drove them all his life, and I think it was a nod to them. The polo ponies, I thought that was an incredible touch. But what really got me actually was the military element to it. Yes, we were all eyes on the family, but if you look at the overview, that was a full military service for him, and it ended with that wonderful lament by the Pipe Major of the Scottish Regiment, which certainly nearly brought a tear to my eye.
Yes, well, he held the highest rank in all three armed services, and each part of the military involvement, those 730 people that were there from the military, it was all very poignant to different areas of his services as well. I agree, I thought that was just beautiful. I'll just ask you about the Princes William and Harry now. We saw them, you know, looking very formal in the procession there, but outside the chapel, looking much more relaxed as we're used to seeing them. Does this shut everyone up now? Is this can we all bury the hatchet and just accept that they've had a wobble and now they're going to get on?
Well, obviously in the procession you're majorly tense, aren't you? The whole thing is unfolding. You're thinking about your grandfather, you're thinking about your mother, you're thinking about everyone that's passed. And I should imagine that was deeply difficult for both of them. But when they came out, there was a moment when sort of William seemed to be waiting for Harry, and then Harry came and approached, and then Catherine, I think, who was a wonderful lady, I think really sort of brought them together. Now, look, we don't know, and unless we've scaled the walls, what's gone on at that wake for 15 of the Premier Royals. We don't know what's happened there, but it's the first move that's been made. There's a lot of there's been a lot of issues, and don't think that a few conversations are going to solve it. I think the big key issue is when will Meghan sort of offer that olive branch as well, because obviously it's easier for Harry to do it, but she hasn't really had any contact with the family. Maybe that'll be when their little girl is born, and really that really should be the moment, hopefully, that she's embraced back in the family. But I think there's a lot to happen still, because these claims of racism, these claims of being neglected with mental health, they're big claims, and they've caused major problems, particularly in America, where that whole stench of racism still hangs over our monarchy. And I, personally, for someone who's worked 30 years covering the royal family, I genuinely do not believe, like Prince William, that they are a racist family. Yeah,
well, hopefully it could be perhaps the cousins that actually bring them together as those kids get older and they really desperately, the parents really want the cousins to have a close relationship. That might help too. All right, Jobbo.
Thanks, Jobbo.
As always, thank you so much. Just keeping his eyes open. He's been working round the clock.